The beginning does not arrive with gold, nor with a throne, nor with any glittering treasure chest set before you. It starts with breathing simple, primal breath, with a profound and reverent silence, with that shapeless expanse where no outline has appeared, where form has not yet taken the risk of being. And into that consecrated quiet, a voice softly declared, "Let there be light." Those words did not offer a description of light. They issued a command. They summoned it forth, and reality itself complied, cosmos bending to the directive. Pause here. Allow that truth to sink deeply into your very being. Let there be light, the earliest spoken edict preserved in sacred texts. It came not as a mere desire, not as a tentative hope, and not as a provisional plan. Rather, it arrived as an authoritative law. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. John 1:1. Pause once more. Can you sense the solemn awe, the subtle tremor of remembrance that seems older than this lifetime, older than time itself? Within those concise holy lines resides a truth preceding the stars. Your words do more than move through air. They sculpt realities and hew outcomes. The tongue contains no bone, and yet it shatters shackles. It constructs empires. It unlocks the very gates of heaven. And friend, you possess this instrument at this very moment within your own mouth. Have you observed it? At times you utter something casually, nearly without awareness, and then days or weeks afterward, it materializes. A phrase whispered under emotional pressure becomes an event that arrives uninvited at your threshold. You declare, "Ugh, I can never catch a break," and then you witness opportunity shut as if on cue. You state, "I knew this would happen," and it dutifully occurs. You affirm money always disappears, and indeed, you see it slip away. Yet sometimes, on notable occasions, you speak a different phrase. I don't know how, but I just know something good is coming. And unexpectedly, goodness arrives right on schedule. The universe is not capricious. It is responsive and obedient to decree. Your speech is not accidental noise. It functions as sacred statute being enacted. Each time you speak, the world attends. The hidden realm shivers. The unseen reorganizes itself accordingly, not by virtue of simple luck, not merely due to intelligence or strategy, rather because you bear a divine imprint. You were fashioned in the likeness of the one who proclaimed, "Let there be light," and you likewise were granted authority to speak of what is not yet, as if it already existed in fullness. Pause once again. This is the profound mystery. This is the living miracle. There is in essence no separation between that primordial utterance and your present words, except the degree of your awareness regarding their potency. A word released in faith becomes a seed sown within the unseen realm. A word uttered in fear functions like a weed that strangles the forthcoming harvest. And yet both varieties will flourish, provided you nourish them with attention and repetition. Therefore, I ask, what precisely have your words been feeding and sustaining? Which worlds, what realities have you been irrigating with your tongue? When discussing your finances, what prevailing tone and posture do you adopt? Is it the narrative of struggle? Is it the story of lack? Is it the refrain of just enough to get by? Or is it instead, I have more than I need? I am supplied. My wealth is abundant and ever flowing, not because you first observed evidence, but because you first articulated it. The utterance preceded the prosperity. The formal decree arrived prior to the visible proof. This constitutes divine order. This reflects spiritual jurisprudence. First speak, and then behold the manifestation. Issue the decree, and afterward receive the outcome. Declare it aloud, and then embody it in daily life. You do not postpone saying, "I am rich," until your account appears full. You declare it first, and then fullness commences. That is the method by which you collaborate with the Creator, respect your inheritance, and open the gates to divine provision and flow. Not by passive delay, by deliberate faithful speech. By recognizing your mouth is not mere ornamentation, nor solely for consumption or casual talk. It functions as a wand, an instrument of initiation. It is also a scepter, an emblem of governing authority. It is a sacred implement entrusted to you, designed to call light into spaces of shadow, to construct outcomes that eyes have not yet witnessed, to summon realities ears have not yet heard proclaimed, to establish what human hands have not yet handled. In the beginning was the Word, and in your own beginning, and in this fresh beginning today, there must likewise be a word. Therefore, what will you choose to speak? Will you persist in repeating the refrain of despair, or will you start anew with intention and reverence? Begin now, immediately in this moment, here precisely where you stand, with a sacred stillness surrounding you and heaven's ear inclined attentively. Speak this with me aloud and deliberate. I believe in the power of my words. Repeat it so that even the air seems to shift as you speak. I believe in the power of my words. Now add your affirmation below as a public witness. I believe in the power of my words. Let both heaven and the visible systems of this world register agreement, because you have just initiated a new beginning, and what you have spoken just now is already moving towards you in manifestation. Take a moment to sit in quiet stillness, dear one. Notice your breathing as it crosses your lips, gentle, invisible, holy. That very breath which once hovered over the primordial waters now lives within you. The same breath that bore the words, "Let there be light," now lingers ready upon your tongue. Yet not as a mere recommendation, not as a hesitant maybe or tentative possibility. As a binding decree, an authoritative pronouncement, your tongue is more than physical substance, more than muscle and motion, more than an instrument of casual conversation. Your tongue functions as a throne, an established seat of authority, a seat upon which your rightful authority takes its place. With every utterance, you exercise dominion. Each time you speak, you create legislation, spiritual statute. With every spoken phrase, you enact a law that enters the fabric of the universe. And the universe, orderly and compliant like a royal court, sets itself to execute your decree. No utterance is wasted. There is only power that has not yet been acknowledged. When a sovereign proclaims a decree, he does not add, "I hope this works." He declares, "So it is," and departs with confidence that the matter is accomplished. Couriers sprint, scribes record, guards mobilize, and cities rearrange themselves in response. For what reason? Because the uttered word carried the weight of law. Not a wishful sentiment, not a fleeting feeling, not a tentative projection. Law, full stop. And you, friend, are of no lesser royalty. You are not born for groveling or pleading. You were born to proclaim and to decree. The tongue you possess rests upon a throne of holy potential, and each syllable it releases becomes binding legislation within creation's court. Every phrase beginning with "I am" functions as a command. Every "I always" becomes standing law. Every "I can't" operates as a restrictive ruling. Every "I receive" issues a royal invitation for fulfillment. Therefore, let us pose the deeper inquiry. What exactly has your throne been proclaiming? Which laws have you enacted in your realm through your everyday words? You may say, I am only being realistic, and yet the domain of mere realism has never been the birthplace of miracles. You might insist I refuse to lie about the facts I observe. Nevertheless, spiritual law has never been confined to what is visible. You protest, I would rather not raise my hopes. Yet those hopes are precisely heaven's couriers standing by to depart with your spoken word in hand. You do not lie by saying, I am rich, even when your wallet presently holds nothing. You are not pretending when affirming wealth flows to me with ease, even as invoices arrive. You are drafting law. You are governing. You are articulating law into the unseen realm so that it may appear within the scene. Allow me to illustrate this with an image. Envision a courtroom setting. The judge enters. The bailiff commands order. The gallery rises in respect. Why does this happen? Because the person about to speak bears recognized authority. No gavel has yet struck the block. No formal sentence has been announced. Yet the office, the position itself, not the volume, commands compliance. And this is precisely how your voice is intended to function. To carry the weight of positional power. To command not through shouting, but through assured knowing. Understand, beloved, the world trains you to speak only after evidence appears. Heaven, however, instructs you to speak beforehand. Call those things which be not as though they were. This is not self-deception. This is dominion rightly exercised. This marks a reversal of where power is sourced and applied. This is the path from reactive living into creative authorship. For to say I am safe when everything already appears calm is mere agreement. But to declare I am safe while storms roar is the posture of royalty. To affirm I am wealthy when your pockets ring hollow is the exercise of kingdom authority. To say I receive all that is mine by divine law, even as your inbox fills with bills rather than favors, this, beloved, is the power that drafts spiritual law. Let me now remind you of a statute you know, though it may have slipped your mind. Every word you speak functions as law. Pause here and consider it. Allow the statement to reverberate. Every single word is law, not a select few. Not only the words you pray and later erase with panic, not merely the affirmations of morning that you then reverse while commuting, not the hopeful whispers that your daily habits contradict. Each and every word stands as law, and the statements you repeat become the most powerful statutes of all, because repetition forms ritual, and ritual bears sacred force. You may shrug, it's only a phrase I say, yet the spirit realm does not recognize the minimizing word just. It receives, I'm broke, as a royal proclamation. It interprets I can't afford that as an official decree. It registers, money is hard to come by as the prevailing law of the land. And heaven-respecting law honors it, not out of any wish for your deprivation, rather because it honors your sovereign authority to legislate your life. You govern your life not as a servant pleading for divine sympathy, but as a collaborator in divine power. Therefore, reclaim your throne. Reclaim the governance of your speech. Speak once more as the sovereign king or queen that you truly are. Speak as though the whole invisible realm stands poised for your command, because it genuinely does. Declare it now. Say it with your breath drawn fully and released with intention. Speak it with the reverent dignity of royalty. My tongue is a throne, and I speak only wealth. Once more repeat it. My tongue is a throne, and I speak only wealth. Speak it at dawn, even before your feet meet the floor. Speak it while you drive along your way. Speak it when fear tries to shrink your language into limitation. Speak it when doubt taps the door and sneers. Who do you think you are? Meet that question head on and answer, I am divine royalty, and every word I speak is law. Let the angels document it in their books. Let the gates open wide upon their hinges. Let resources reconfigure themselves in your favor. You have issued your decree, and so it stands complete and established. If this reaches something true within you, if your soul senses ancient memory awakening and stirring, if you are prepared to speak as the sovereign over your own life, then choose to subscribe and stay with this path. This path is a journey into divine manifestation, and your next binding decree begins in this very moment. Gently close your eyes. Sense the space that surrounds you quiet, invisible, and still. Now envision yourself at the boundary of a vast, radiant expanse. There are no walls or ceilings, only light and limitless possibility. You stand at the entrance to what I name the invisible warehouse of heaven. This is not mere fantasy, nor only metaphor. It is real. Real not within the realm of eyesight, but within the realm your spirit recognizes and remembers. This storehouse is stacked from floor to ceiling with everything you have ever desired, and even more besides. Every good and worthy thing, every prayer that finds its answer, every vision you have secretly dreamed, every treasure you once believed had been lost, every home opportunity dollar, miracle, healing, reconciliation, and dream each included. All of it is present here, waiting in readiness, stored and safeguarded, located not in a distant future, but within the invisible realm. For within spirit, nothing is withheld and nothing is truly delayed. It already has existence. Allow me to restate this for emphasis. You are not striving to manufacture wealth from nothing. You are being summoned to receive what is already prepared and created. You are not wrestling to force blessings into being. You are learning to call them forward by name. Just as seeds rest beneath the earth's surface unseen yet poised and ready, so too does wealth lie beneath the surface of your present experience, awaiting the spoken word to germinate and bloom. Can you perceive this? The quiet behind your longings is not emptiness, it is fullness, full of unopened parcels dispatched from the divine. And these are not mislaid or missing. They are clearly labeled with your own name, yet they require a key to access them. And the key is the word that leaves your mouth, not complaint or grumbling, not anxiety or fretfulness, not the lament of how long, Lord, but the clear voice of command. Just as Jesus commanded Lazarus come forth, and a man bound in death cloths emerged alive, so also must your wealth be summoned explicitly by name. It waits in obedience within the warehouse, not from self-doubt, but out of respect for your authority to call it. It waits patiently for your summons. It waits for your decree to be issued. Now imagine yourself strolling the aisles of this spiritual storehouse. No alarms sounding, no guards policing, no checkout counters to endure. Only you and the inheritance that already belongs to you. Above the doorway gleams a golden plaque bearing these words, authorized access by spoken word only. You cannot purchase entry. You cannot hustle your way past. You cannot manipulate the vault's mechanisms. You must speak the words. Your speech functions as your security clearance. Your spoken word is the code that unlocks the door. You pass shelves stocked with abundance in all things. You turn a corner and find bins labeled ideas that change your life. You lay a hand upon a velvet case marked debt forgiveness and overflow. You behold it, sense it, and recognize it as yours by right. Yet how do you move it from that invisible storehouse into your tangible hands? You declare it boldly. You state your claim upon it. You speak as though it is present already, because in spiritual terms, it already is. Speak this now. Everything I desire exists now in the invisible and is coming to me by divine law. Let those words echo and settle. Speak the affirmation again. Everything I desire exists now in the invisible and is coming to me by divine law. You are not pleading or supplicating. You are not merely wishing or daydreaming. You are activating the inventory of the spirit realm. You are aligning your earthly circumstances with what already stands recorded in heaven's archives. This is not conjuring from emptiness. This is drawing down what already belongs to you. Have you sensed it before? That peculiar ache, that longing that quietly whispers, "There is more for me, even if I cannot yet see it." That sensation is not fantasy. That is memory resurfacing. That is your soul recalling the shelves it glimpsed in that invisible warehouse before you embodied this life. That is your spirit asking, "How can I feel poor when I know I am rich?" Because richness is your true condition. Because in the spiritual dimension, it is already yours. Not will be not someday, now already present. But where is it your mind demands? To this I respond, do not interrogate the seed about the flower before it receives water. Do not ask the night sky where the sun has gone. Do not ask your life where the wealth is until you have first issued the decree. You are not the one waiting on wealth's arrival. Wealth is the one waiting upon your summons, waiting for you to cease speaking fear, to stop legislating delay and postponement, to end the notion that heaven's storehouse stands empty or barred. It is not empty. It is full to overflowing. It stands open and accessible, and it is indexed by and familiar with your very name. Will you speak the words? Now, will you open the gate with your decree? Will you trust that the deepest longings within you were not deception, but correspondence, a letter addressed from your own divine storage? Declare this I receive from the invisible warehouse of heaven, all that is mine by divine right. Again, repeat it with certainty. I receive from the invisible warehouse of heaven all that is mine by divine right. Allow the words to travel from lips into spirit. Let them resound more loudly than any doubt. Let this declaration become the very key, because that is exactly what it is, because in truth, you already possess it. Now, dear one, in this very moment, pass this along to a person who truly needs the reminder and the insight. It already belongs to them by right and by designation. A deception exists that is so delicate in texture and so broadly diffused that it has faded from notice, rendered practically invisible through familiarity. We pass it by without question. We repeat it in our speech. We joke alongside it at dinner tables, and we also weep with it when night falls and the room is quiet. It has woven itself into family customs, slipped into neighborhood humor, echoed through religious sermons, and even nestled into the gentle cadence of bedtime stories told at night. It bears a single name, yet it appears under countless masks and subtle disguises, hiding in plain sight. Its true identity is poverty lack dressed up as normal. But to be more precise about its nature, it is the belief in poverty itself, the conviction that scarcity is real and authoritative. It is the rehearsed and reiterated creed spoken over and over again that shortage is genuine and operative, that not enough is in some twisted way holy or virtuous, that ongoing struggle deserves reverence as something noble and admirable, that true abundance should be eyed with suspicion as if it were inherently suspect, that anything labeled too much is automatically excessive and morally problematic. Yet listen closely. Poverty is not a sentence handed down as punishment. It is an agreement you have spoken and maintained with your own words. Allow me to restate this for emphasis and clarity. Poverty is not a punitive measure. It is a counterfeit decree, an untrue ruling you do not have to uphold. It is the lingering echo of fear-filled phrases, inherited like family heirlooms, packaged in anxiety, bound with silence, and unwrapped with weary sighs. Poverty did not arrive by sacred blueprint. We constructed and sustained it through declarations made with our own mouths. We repeated, "Money doesn't grow on trees." We concluded, "I guess I'm just not meant to have it." We affirmed, "Some people get rich. I'm just not one of them." We comforted ourselves by saying, "At least I'm not greedy." We insisted I just need enough to get by, and the heavens registered every syllable without missing a single one, not with condemnation or harsh judgment, but with faithful obedience to what was spoken. For heaven does not operate with bias. It operates with unwavering loyalty to lawfully spoken word. It responds not to raw emotion or mood swings, but to uttered declarations and articulated speech. It is activated not by your unspoken wishes, but by the words you actually voice. Therefore, when your speech announces limitation, the universe organizes itself to match that limitation. When you issue a decree of not enough divine couriers, move out and systematically remove the pathways through which overflow would arrive. They do this not from cruelty, but from allegiance to your spoken law. Because you, dear soul, occupy the throne. You are the sovereign whose word governs. And sovereigns are not scolded or corrected. Their decrees are enacted. They are honored with dutiful execution of their commands. Yet now the moment has arrived to amend what was declared and revise the standing order. To nullify the false agreement and tear up its terms, to recognize that poverty was never your essential truth. It was merely the language you kept speaking. It was not your destined portion. It was simply a recurring pattern you rehearsed, and patterns, even long-held ones, can be interrupted and broken. Let us begin breaking several of them right here and right now. Let us face the covert phrases that move through the soul like stealthy viruses rewriting its code. You have heard these lines, perhaps you have even said them yourself. I can't afford that. I always struggle with money. Every time I get ahead, something knocks me back. I'm just bad with finances. Money makes people selfish. People like me never get rich. Pause for a moment and take a slow, grounding breath. Allow each statement to reverberate in awareness, and then watch it dissolve and disappear. For these are not hard facts or inevitable prophecies. They are merely old declarations pretending to be true. They are decrees you are no longer obligated to endorse or renew. These words constructed an invisible prison, its bars padded with velvet labeled realism, its watchman named humility, standing guard to keep you small. But here, this false humility is not holiness. It is a distortion of it. It is theft dressed in religious garments, stealing while appearing virtuous. It robs you of abundance, even as it persuades you to give thanks for crumbs and leftovers. It whispers that God is somehow glorified by you staying in lack, when in truth, your flourishing and wealth provide living evidence of divine generosity. Allow me to speak plainly and without adornment. The claim that purity requires poverty is an outright lie. The assertion that asking for more is inherently greedy is also a lie. The notion that your background schooling or family history must restrict you, these two are lies. And each of these lies was birthed from words first uttered in fear and kept alive by repetition. But from this moment forward, you will speak with deliberate power and authority. Now you will verbalize a new ruling and say, I cancel all words of lack. Speak it out loud right now so that it is heard. I cancel all words of lack. Let your voice land like a judge's gavel striking the bench with decisive finality. Let the outdated contracts ignite and burn to ash within Spirit's courtroom. Let the angels rejoice while those counterfeit decrees dissolve into nothingness. Because this is more than talk. This is spiritual warfare waged with lawful words, and this decisive speaking is the beginning of victory. You are not poor, regardless of what appearances may say. You are not broken. Wholeness belongs to you. You are not behind. You are right on divine schedule. You are sovereign, endowed with authority over your realm. You are rich in spirit, abundant at your core. You yourself are walking wealth, and from now on, your speech will echo and confirm that reality. From this very moment forward, no more offhand curses disguised as jokes or throwaway lines. No more self-deprecating humor about being broke or perpetually short. No more shrinking your voice or presence whenever money comes up. No more secret agreements with insufficiency dressed up as modesty or restraint. You will speak in the register of royalty as one who knows their station. Not because you are pretending or play acting, but because you are remembering who you have always been. Poverty has never been your true identity or name. It was a role assigned by wounded generations who lacked the tools to alter the script they inherited. But now the authorship returns to you. You are the writer at last. You hold the pen that determines the next lines and scenes. And this new chapter begins with fresh, life-given words. Words that sound like these: I am abundantly provided for. Wealth is my birthright. I am in harmony with money. Money flows to me with ease and joy. I am aligned with the infinite source of all supply. Let these affirmations pour from your mouth like living waters that refresh and restore. Let them wash away the dry, cracked echoes of not enough, replacing scarcity's residue. Let them become your daily decree, your morning and evening law. Because with every uttered word, you are either upholding and enforcing lack, or you are laying down the foundations that establish wealth. Choose wealth deliberately and unequivocally. Choose it in what you speak aloud each day. Choose it in your inner silence, in the thoughts you host. Choose it in prayer and sacred conversation. Choose it even in casual chats and everyday dialogue. And if that old voice resurfaces, whispering doubt and mocking your new vocabulary, smile gently, unshaken by its attempt, and respond by saying with authority, I cancel all words of lack. And just like that, quick as the striking of a match, the chains that bound you begin to fall away. The enchantment breaks, releasing its hold. The vault swings open to reveal provision, and heaven moves swiftly to carry out your renewed decree. There is a sacred question breathed through eternity, first heard in the garden and still echoing through every generation since. It is not laced with accusation or blame. It is not condemning or shaming in tone. It is an awakening, tenderly wrapped in love and care. When Adam and Eve perceived their nakedness, when shame flooded the air and they hid from the presence, the divine asked them a question: who told you that you were naked? Pause and sit with this. Feel the weight and gravity of what is being asked. Not why are you naked? Not what have you done? But who told you, who authored the narrative you now believe? Who inserted that thought into your mind and seated it there? Who introduced you to shame and taught you to wear it? Who handed you the lens that blinds you to your own glory and worth? And now, across centuries, I put the same inquiry to you, beloved. Who told you you were poor in the first place? Who told you abundance did not belong to you? Who persuaded you that wealth was reserved for them and never for you? Was it the news channel always flashing red banners about downturn and crisis? Was it the teacher who instructed, people like you need to be more realistic? Was it the parent who visibly flinched whenever money entered the conversation? Was it the preacher who taught that poverty somehow made you holier? Was it the debt collector whose tone shrank your sense of dignity? Was it the paycheck that never stretched far enough to meet the month? Was it the tense silence at dinner when the bills came due and no answers came? Was it the eviction notice posted like a verdict? The overdraft notice arriving like a reprimand? The repeat chorus of, "We can't afford that. Who told you exactly?" Who was it truly? Because whoever authored that belief, they lied plain and simple. Perhaps they had no ill intent. Perhaps they were merely repeating a script handed to them and believed they were protecting you. Nonetheless, it was still a lie that fashioned a mask you learned to wear, a lie that then hardened into a mirror, reflecting a false image back at you, a lie that sank into your nervous system and disguised itself convincingly as reality. But now the veil lifts and falls away from your eyes. Now the inner child stands up and asks an honest question. Am I allowed to believe I'm rich? Yes, little one, without reservation. Not only is it permitted, it is required. You must believe it. Because identity precedes and shapes the reality you live. And wealth is not merely what you can hold in your palm. It is a possession held in your spirit first and foremost. It is a deep and settled knowing. It is a resonant frequency you carry within. It is a divine identity that speaks out and declares, I am wealth. Not I have wealth. Not I will earn wealth. I am wealth. Just as the great I am declared identity before anything existed, before time arrived, before the stars received their names, I am that I am. That same archetypal voice now reverberates within you, not because you are God, but because you are of God-bearing divine imprint. And what originates in God cannot in its essence be poor. You were trained to view wealth as external something to chase, earn, hustle for, and continually prove yourself worthy of. Yet true wealth begins with remembrance, memory waking within, a revelation that opens the eyes, a return to your truest original identity. You are not in the process of becoming rich from scratch. You are remembering that richness has been your essence all along. Strip away the numbers and accounts, the debts and spreadsheets, the narratives and excuses. Go further beneath all of that. close your eyes and settle inward. See the younger version of yourself before fear, before shame, before budget sheets and bills. See that child laughing unguarded and bright, barefoot in wonder, alive with dreams, unburdened by the concept of scarcity. Watch them extend their hands toward you now and ask with open-hearted trust, can we believe again? Can we trust that we are not abandoned or forgotten? Can we believe the universe is aligned in our favor? Can we return home to the truth of wealth? The answer unequivocally is yes. Yes, you can, fully and freely. Yes, you must. Your future depends on it. Yes, the gates stand open and welcoming. But this path opens only as you drop the old mask you wore. Only if you stop rehearsing that old label, not enough, day after day. Only if you refuse to let the world continue defining your identity. Only if you begin telling yourself the truest story. So now, placing your hand upon your heart, declare this: I am wealth by divine law. Speak it with the innocence of a child who has not yet learned to doubt. Speak it with the settled authority of royalty. Speak it as though both heaven and earth are listening intently, because indeed they truly are. I am wealth by divine law. Once more again, I am wealth by divine law. And now write your public affirmation below. I claim my inheritance, because this is not mere theory or abstraction. This is your lineage, your spiritual heritage. This is your truth at the deepest level. This is your homecoming to who you are. And at the very moment you speak it aloud, everything in and around you begins to shift and change. Every human life is a script in active composition, not etched in permanent ink, but written and revised in living word. A living script inscribed by the phrases you repeat, the stories you invest, in the dialogues you unconsciously rehearse day after day. And like a stage play, this script determines your role, your setting, your plot turns, and ultimately your ending. Yet here is the secret that never made it into your school lessons. You are not merely the actor repeating lines. You are the writer crafting the lines. You are also the director shaping the scenes, the narrator who frames the meaning, and above all, the voiceover artist whose tone and words define your entire life. However, for many of us, a pre-written script was placed in our hands. Lines scribbled by exhausted ancestors, worn-out teachers, fearful parents, and stressed preachers under pressure. You'll never be rich. People like us have to work twice as hard for half as much. You're too old. You're too young. You don't have the education. You've made too many mistakes. You're not special. Line after limiting line piled one upon another. Limiting belief stacked upon limiting belief, forming walls. And we played the assigned part as if it were ours. We said the words right on cue like trained performers. We became fluent in reciting pain as if it were our native language. We learned to accept the story even when it did not match reality or our potential. But now, what about now? Now the pen has returned to your grasp. Now the page in front of you lies blank and ready. Now the narrating voice of your life stands ready to speak something wholly new. So let us commence the rewrite with intention, not with strain or struggle, not with guilt, shame, or apology, with deliberate, creative speech, with the sacred and intentional utterance of a new liberating truth, not merely scribbled in a journal or whispered in private, not restricted to thoughts circling in the mind, but voiced aloud with clarity and power. Take a moment and stand before a mirror, literal or imagined, ready to address yourself. Let your eyes meet the reflection, not of your past persona, but of your truest self. Now speak aloud, slowly, clearly, and with intention. Let your tongue shape and carry these new realities into sound. I am the author of my wealth story. I am rewriting the script of my life with power, clarity, and truth. Every word I speak creates new scenes of abundance. I speak money into motion. I speak overflow into being. I speak ease into my finances. Pause once more to feel the shift. Allow that vibration to settle deeply into your being. Notice how distinctly different this feels compared to the old lines and labels. It may feel unfamiliar at first, like stepping into clothes that do not yet feel broken in. That sensation arises because the costume of lack has clung to you for so long that you forgot the feel of your royal robes. Yet those royal garments still fit you perfectly. They have always fit even when you doubted it. It is time to wear words that harmonize with your true identity and station. And understand this practice is more than simple affirmation. This is ritual, repeated sacred action. This is spiritual authorship in motion. This is the divine endowment of revision and renewal. Do not underestimate its depth or its reach. You are not merely uttering pleasant phrases for temporary comfort. You are programming the energetic field around you. You are instructing the very atmosphere to rearrange itself. You are constructing tomorrow's stage right now with the syllables that leave your lips today. Let us move even deeper into practice. Speak these lines now, each repeated 3 times with steady rhythm. I cancel fear. I activate faith. I speak wealth. I cancel lack. I activate legacy. I speak wealth. I cancel doubt. I activate destiny. I speak wealth. Hear the cadence thrum like a ceremonial drumbeat. Feel it pulse through you like an ancient ritual remembered. You are doing more than shifting a mindset or attitude. You are shifting your very identity at its foundations, because your speech and your sense of self are not truly separate. Your words are an extension of you. They are you in audible form. Therefore, if you have spoken like a beggar, it isn't only your finances that reflected lack. Your self-image has been clothed in rags as well. But now, what is different? Now you stand crowned bearing visible authority, not because surrounding circumstances suddenly proved it, but because of the authoritative speech rising from within you. And with every utterance from this royal vibration, you continue rewriting the script of your life. You shift the character you play and become the truer version. You revise the narrative arc and change its direction. In place of, I never have enough, the new line reads, money comes to me in unexpected and joyful ways. Instead of I'm bad with money, the line now becomes, I am wise, aligned, and guided in all financial matters. In place of the old statement, I'm stuck, the new upgraded line should now read as follows, I am free, I am flowing, I am funded. Let us solidify this shift by instituting a daily declaration practice, a steady ritual that anchors the new language. Each morning, prior to looking at your phone, before scanning the headlines, and ahead of the day's noise, face a mirror and speak the following aloud. I now write the story of divine wealth with my words. Today, I speak prosperity into everything I do. Today, I speak abundance into everyone I meet. Today, I speak joy into my bank account, my home, my future. Then allow a genuine smile to arise, sealing the intention with warmth. Because what you are doing exceeds mere talk. It is more than casual speech. You are engaged in construction, assembling realities with your voice. You are bestowing blessing, consecrating your path with words. You are using your voice as the midwife to bring forth a new world and new conditions. You are, in effect, embodying the spirit of sacred text through practice, and when doubt leans in to murmur, "This is silly," you answer firmly, "This is sacred." Because life does not take shape by accident or randomness. It is formed, refined, and directed by articulation, by the precise words you declare. And you, beloved soul, have recalled an ancient governing principle. The word is the wand. Therefore, use it deliberately as a purposeful instrument. Use it with careful precision and chosen intent. Use it with joy, allowing gladness to charge your speech. Use it with consistent rhythm repetition that ingrains truth. Use it with reverence, honoring the sacredness of your utterance. Are you prepared to author your wealth narrative with intention? If so, share one new decree you commit to speak each day, anchoring your rewrite in action. Allow others to witness that your script revision has already commenced. And keep this reminder close at hand. The script of your life remains unfinished, still open to revision. It is waiting patiently for your next intentional lines, waiting specifically for your next formative word. And the world will in turn reorganize itself to correspond with what you declare. Therefore, speak now without delay. Continue to speak consistently and continually. Speak wealth specifically. Let prosperity be your steady refrain. Within the unseen realm, there operates a divine mechanism so subtle and magnificent that many traverse their entire lives oblivious to its motion. It remains quiet unless one learns how to listen. Yet once you attune, you can perceive the universe's grand ticking, the winding of cosmic springs, and the consecrated clank of manifestations being assembled just beyond the veil. Everything initiates with speech. The starting lever is always your word. Your words are not ornamental flourishes. They are not fluff filler or incidental noise. They function as instruments, tools, levers, switches, interlocking gears. Speech is the operative machinery of spirit. By speaking, you activate the apparatus, and regardless of whether you speak naively or knowingly, the mechanism still engages. The relevant question is not, will it function, but rather, what commands are you issuing it to carry out? Florence Scovel Shinn summarized this timeless principle. Man's word is his wand filled with magic and power. In that spirit, I invite you to occupy the engineer's chair now. The gears wait in readiness. The energy hums to life. Your decree serves as the operational command. Let us render the concept as clearly and plainly as we can. Picture a vast unseen engine extending beyond time and space. It lacks visible bolts or physical casing. Rather, it consists of vibration, lawful order, and spiritual responsiveness. The instant an intentional word is spoken, a process commences, a chain reaction as reliable as a struck match, igniting a wick, melting wax, and wax yielding light. Within this sacred mechanism, every sound bears a particular frequency. That frequency resonates within the divine field, and the note it strikes begins to attract and assemble its own likeness. Words do more than describe. They function as architectural blueprints. When you declare, "I am wealthy," you are not simply stating a current condition, you are initiating construction. You are instructing the mechanism, commence building a reality in which this statement is realized, and the mechanism complies not eventually or occasionally, but consistently. Many err by assuming nothing occurred simply because the walls did not tremble or money did not fall immediately from the sky. Yet the gears did begin to turn. The frequency did adjust. The signal did radiate outward. The fulfillment has already moved into motion. Understand the mechanism does not submit to your clock or impatience. It operates according to spiritual alignment. Once conditions align in the unseen, the visible world subsequently conforms. That is the governing law. Now pause and breathe. Recognize this: your mouth functions as a command center. Each word, each sentence, each exhale issues a code that either opens or seals doors within the quantum fabric of your life. When your speech harmonizes with divine law, uttering truth, power, abundance, and grace, the gears move without friction. The mechanism hums, vibrations synchronize, and results begin to manifest in your experience like fruit grown from a seed once hidden. However, when your words oppose that harmony, expressing fear, limitation, complaint, or despair, you clog the gears. The engine slows, stalls, and reroutes, not as punishment, but as a faithful mirror of your directive. This is not retribution. It is precision. The universe is far too orderly to disregard your decree, which good news means your authority genuinely matters. For once you grasp this, once you sense the sacred machinery answering your voice, you will cease squandering words carelessly. You will no longer indulge in idle self-curses regarding your circumstances. You will stop speaking the language of lack while simultaneously desiring wealth. You will refrain from announcing "I can't" when your deeper spirit whispers, "You already are." You start to engineer outcomes with your speech functioning as the divine mechanic responsible for your life's machinery. Let us ground this understanding with a clarifying analogy. Envision a large flowchart in which every spoken word roots to a node, and each node branches into specific outcomes. When you declare "I'm always broke," the pathway naturally directs toward bills, delays, and scarcity, not as punishment, but as the machinery dutifully obeying your instruction. Yet if you shift your statement to "I am divinely supplied at all times," prosperity is my natural state, the gears immediately reroute. New pathways open. Resources move toward you, summoned not by strain, but by the operation of spiritual law. The mechanism itself is neutral and does not choose. You are the chooser and the decider. You are the architect who designs the blueprint. You are the engineer who specifies how the system will run. You are the one who presses the sacred activation button. That button is quite literally your spoken word. Therefore, if you feel immobilized, first examine your speech. If you sense you are off course, review your declarations for misalignment. If you feel delayed, inspect the last phrase you pronounced about money, love, health, or opportunity. Because the mechanism, beloved, is only executing precisely what you instructed it to do. Now let us affirm together, deliberately, slowly, and with full authority. I speak divine truth, and the machinery of heaven responds. I speak wealth, and the gears of abundance turn toward me. I speak joy, and the vibration shifts in my favor. My word is law in the realm of spirit, and the law delivers what I decree. So I speak wisely, powerfully, and with faith. And so it is. Within the universe's great cathedral, every word you release becomes an undying note. It reverberates and rebounds, echoing and circling through creation until it comes back to its originator, taking on tangible form as it returns. This principle is what I call the echo law, the law of return in speech. As a canyon sends your shout back to you, and sound waves travel back to their source, so your words return as well. though not always as audible sound. They often return as people, and encounters as events and surprises, as delays or miracles, as setbacks or astonishing breakthroughs. Florence Scovel Shinn expressed it with clarity. What man says of others will be said of him, and what he wishes for another, he is wishing for himself. Words are not mere vibrations. They function as contracts binding spells and agreements that set terms in motion. Every word you utter is like sending off a carrier bird with a message affixed to its leg. It disappears into the invisible, and yet note this well, it will return, and when it does, it brings proof and circumstance that match what you originally declared. Allow me to illustrate with a brief story. There was a woman named Clarissa Bright, insightful, warm in spirit, yet thoroughly conditioned to speak the language of scarcity. She bore no ill intent. She had simply grown up hearing, "Money doesn't grow on trees, and life is hard for people like us." Day after day, Clarissa's speech sounded like this: "Ugh, another bill. People are only out for themselves, and I never catch a break." One afternoon at a cafe, Clarissa waited in line while the customer ahead fumbled with a purse and spilled coins. The moment stretched out, and Clarissa muttered under her breath, "Why can't people just get it together?" 3 days afterward, Clarissa splashed coffee across an important work document. She froze in embarrassment as her thoughts spiraled into, "I'm such a mess." In that instant, she recognized the echo at work her earlier words, "Why can't people just get it together?" had returned not as an audible replay, but as a lived situation, reflecting her judgment back to her. The realization arrived quietly, sobering, steadying, impossible to ignore. Yet it was also liberating, opening a door to change. She understood that if careless criticism could reverberate as mishap, then intentional blessings could reverberate as miracles. So she set about changing her speech deliberately. In place of "Ugh, another bill," she would say, "This bill is proof that my utilities are abundant." Rather than "People are selfish," she declared, "I attract kind and generous souls." And instead of "I never catch a break," she affirmed, "Breakthroughs come easily to me." The echo law held true. Her life started to turn first a refund here, then a kind stranger there, and eventually a promotion increment by increment. Understand the echo does not discern between solemnity and sarcasm, between emotion and flippancy. It is faithful to return what was sent. Its only query is, what did you release? Whatever you speak comes back to you magnified and multiplied. This is why Florence was adamant, do not speak defeat, do not joke about lack, and do not curse your life with careless words. For the words spoken today furnish and decorate the home you will inhabit tomorrow. Therefore, what are you setting into echo right now? I invite you today to review every phrase you have uttered about money, love, timing, health, and worth. Were those words covert curses in disguise? Were they unthinking agreements with struggle and strain? Or were they seeds of glory planted with intention? If you discover you have been echoing limitation, do not fear. The very moment you notice it, you are empowered to revoke and reverse it. Speak this aloud right now. I cancel every false word spoken in ignorance. I release every contract with lack. I undo every echo that does not reflect divine truth. And I now speak words that return as wealth, joy, ease, and wonder. The echo that returns to you is yours to design and shape. There is a quality in the human voice to which heaven responds, and that quality is not desperation. It is faith, the steady tone of certainty. In Spirit's grand courtroom, words function as testimonies, yet not all testimonies carry equal authority. Words cried out in panic, though loud, are readily dismissed. They lack jurisdiction and radiate chaos. Words uttered in faith, even when whispered, roar like thunder spiritually, for they are spoken from rightful authority. There is a profound difference between pleading cries and authoritative decrees. Picture two figures arriving at the gates of divine provision. The first rushes in, eyes wild and hands trembling. "I need money. I can't pay rent. I don't know what to do. Please, I'm trying to manifest. I've been affirming for weeks and nothing's happening." Her tone is saturated with panic. Her energy is jagged. Her breathing is erratic. She is emotionally intense, but spiritually misaligned. The second steps in composed and upright breathing, slow and deep. She states with measured certainty, "I am divinely provided for. My supply is already on its way. The rent is paid in full by divine channels. I trust the law of demonstration." Her voice neither shakes nor begs. It declares. The spiritual machinery recognizes and aligns with that tone. Why does this difference matter? Because panic produces noise, while faith emits a coherent frequency. In heaven's courtroom, faith presides as judge, and only declarations spoken under its authority are executed. Let us pivot to a brief parable, a dramatized scene designed to press this truth deeper into the heart. Understand, beloved, here lies the defining line. The universe does not respond to begging, does not bend under panic, and is unmoved by raw emotional intensity alone. It is moved by vibrational alignment, by the coherence behind the words, and that alignment is revealed, audibly felt in our manner and tone of speech. Florence Scovel Shinn observed fear and faith are opposite sides of the same coin. Both function as declarations, yet only one bears spiritual authority. So let's compare them plainly. When you declare, "I need this money," or else that is emotionalism, not authority. When you assert, "This money comes to me now by divine right," that is decree spoken with authority. When you protest, "Why isn't it working? I don't know what else to do," that is pleading, not law. When you affirm, "It is already done in the invisible. I walk in the evidence unseen," that is power and alignment. We must train ourselves to speak not out of crisis, but out of certainty and alignment. Let's anchor it with a quick role play. Imagine two versions of you. Nothing is changing. I keep repeating affirmations and I'm still broke. What am I doing wrong? Every word I speak plants a seed. I refuse to panic about the soil. I trust a sprout is forming beneath the surface. My wealth is unfolding right now. Can you sense the difference between the two tones? Panic chases outcomes frantically. Faith calmly claims what is already aligned. Panic operates from doubt and deficiency. Faith assumes fulfillment and acts accordingly. Panic interrogates and second guesses. Faith affirms and establishes. And what you affirm in faith must return to you, that is spiritual law. So how do you move from panic into power? First, pause and breathe. Resist the urge to speak when your heart is in turmoil. Second, listen within and ask, am I grasping for control or am I standing in truth? Third, rephrase and redeclare. Replace fearful language with statements of knowing. Instead of saying, I'm never going to figure this out, say divine wisdom guides me now. The solution appears with ease. Instead of, I feel stuck, I'm blocked. Say the path clears before me. Every blockage dissolves by divine intelligence. Instead of asking, why isn't this happening already? Say everything unfolds in perfect timing. I walk in trust. Your tone functions as a spiritual fingerprint. The vibration beneath your words reveals what you truly believe. And spiritual law responds not merely to the words themselves, but to the belief powering them. Therefore, even in fear or instability, speak with the voice of faith, speak from the outcome rather than the obstacle as the architect and not the victim. Let us decree together now, I do not manifest from fear. I speak from faith. My words carry divine authority. I speak with calm confidence, and the universe rushes to comply. I am heard. I am supported. I am upheld. My declarations move mountains. My voice activates abundance. And so it is. Reality moves to a rhythm, and power follows a recognizable pattern. If you attend closely not merely with ears, but with heightened awareness, you can perceive that cadence. Tick, tick, tick. It is like a pendulum swing, like the lunar cycle waxing and waning, like the reliable pulse that drums within your chest. All things in this universe advance through rhythm, shaped not by random chance or brute force, but by consistent repetition and recurring cycles. This is the sacred algorithm of manifestation. That which you repeat with intention crystallizes into lived reality. Florence Scovel Shinn affirmed, words and thoughts are a form of radioactivity, and when continually sent out, they reach a definite destination. Therefore, if you're truly ready to change your life, don't wait for a lightning bolt moment. Step directly into the miracle's rhythm now. This is precisely where the 21-day cycle makes its entrance. It is not a cheap motivational trick, but a spiritual prescription, 21 days of steady faith. Saturated speech re-educates the subconscious and rearranges the vibrational field surrounding your life. Let us unpack how this divine mechanism functions in practice. When you declare a new truth, say I am a wealthy being, you are planting a seed. As with any seed, a single drop of water will not suffice. It requires rhythm, sunlight repetition, ongoing nourishment. On the first day, the soil of your subconscious receives the seed. By the third day, roots start to extend and take hold. By the seventh day, the subconscious begins to yield and bend toward the new pattern. By the 14th day, resistance loosens its grip and weakens. And by the 21st day, the old groove is broken apart and a fresh groove, the new pattern, starts to set. Understand that your subconscious is not malicious or adversarial. It is fundamentally mechanical. It accepts whatever it hears most often, particularly when the hearing is reinforced by feeling, imagination, and steady repetition. Thus, if for years it has absorbed lines like, "We can't afford that," "People like me don't get ahead," "It's too late for me," then those mental grooves are deeply carved and well worn. Yet praise the law, those grooves are not permanent, they can be rewritten and replaced. And the instrument that accomplishes this rewrite is faithful repetition. Picture your subconscious as a garden. If fear has sown weeds there for years, a single yank won't create a harvest. You return day after day, you pull weeds again, water the bed, and speak over the new seed repeatedly until the old root system withers and the new shoots rise. This steady practice is the core of the 21-day discipline. It is more than habit creation. It's about establishing vibrational permanent stability that holds. The law of demonstration is not swayed by a lone whisper. It responds to the steady drumbeat, the ongoing cadence of your decree. Allow me to illustrate with a brief story. Consider Elijah, a soft-spoken, reflective man in his mid-40s. For years, he carried a just-enough identity, employed, yes, but never flourishing. He devoured books, sampled many coaches, and even experimented with affirmations a few times, yet nothing seemed to stick or shift. Then someone issued a challenge: speak your affirmation aloud every day for 21 days, no matter what. No skipping, no tinkering, no hedging. Simply speak it. His chosen statement: I am surrounded by divine supply. Every dollar I need flows to me now. During the first days, it felt awkward, forced, and oddly hollow. Yet by day 5, something subtle stirred his inner monologue, began echoing the affirmation. His self-talk gently shifted tone. By day 10, a refund appeared from an old overpayment 5 years past and long forgotten. By day 17, his energy felt different. His posture lifted, his voice carried new confidence. By day 21, a former client called with a long-term contract, paying triple his prior rate. This did not happen because he gamed the system, but because he finally synchronized with it. Elijah's turning point was not raw effort. It was rhythmic realignment with spiritual law. That alignment is the essential key. Therefore, I extend this identical challenge to you now. For the next 21 days, speak your truth consistently. Select one sacred decree, whether wealth, love, clarity, or healing, and repeat it every day until it becomes your heartbeat. Let it become as natural and constant as your very breath. Let it become so habitual that when fear approaches, it discovers no vacancy to settle in. Here is a straightforward 21-day pattern you can follow: simple, strong, and reliable. Morning, declare your affirmation aloud 7 times before stepping out from your space. Midday, whisper it once with complete attention, especially at the first sign of worry. Evening, speak it again into a mirror, gazing with kindness and love into your own eyes. Do not obsess over results or stare at the soil for sprouts. Simply water consistently and trust the process. On day 1, your outer life may appear unchanged, and ordinary. But by day 21, what was invisible begins to surface and become visible. Let us now seal this truth with a set of affirmations. Repeat the following slowly with full presence and breath. I enter the rhythm of abundance. My word creates my world one day at a time. I speak wealth. I live wealth. I embody wealth. My voice is the drumbeat of manifestation. Every day I rewrite my reality. I speak as if it's already done. Because in spirit it is, and so it is. Now we commence here and now. Today is day 1, your first deliberate step into the rhythm. Fear moves quietly and craftily. It is ingenious in its disguises. Fear is the master saboteur of your speech, the hidden hand that undermines the power of your declarations. It rarely bursts in shouting. More often, it tiptoes in with soft, reasonable-sounding whispers. Just be realistic. Keep your expectations low. What if you're wrong again? Phrases that feel prudent, but secretly shrink your horizon. And unless you are spiritually alert and discerning, you may misread those hush-toned cautions as wise counsel, when in fact they are restraints. Yet in truth, those whispers are weeds' intrusive growth that chokes the garden of your words. Florence Scovel Shinn cautioned us succinctly: fear is man's only enemy. Not failure or poverty or delay. Fear stands as the singular adversary. Why is this so? Because fear pollutes the current of power, distorting the frequency of your voice. It introduces static and interference into the clear broadcast of your decree. You can proclaim, I am wealthy, yet if your body tightens with worry, your thoughts swirl with doubt, and your soul braces for letdown, then your vibration becomes divided. The transmission fractures, and the message is self-sabotaged. This is the reason many feel blocked, not due to incorrect words, but because fear lingered behind the scenes, quietly pulling levers and diverting outcomes. Allow me to illustrate fear's effect with a vivid metaphor. Imagine a luminous spell released golden letters swirling upward, your affirmation lifting like a bird with gleaming wings. Yet as it begins to ascend, fear seeps in like a shadowed mist, coating the wings with grime and dimming the glow. The once pure spell stutters mid-flight, not destroyed, but delayed, muffled, and pushed off course. This is not punitive. It is precise mechanics at work, outcomes matching inputs. The universe is responsive to the total frequency of your being, not only the words you speak on the surface. Now consider a living example, Maya. For months, Maya affirmed wealth. Money flows to me with ease. I am a magnet for abundance, yet outwardly nothing shifted. If anything, circumstances constricted even more. Frustration took root. "I'm doing everything right," she protested. "Why isn't this working?" One evening, weary and upset, she chose stillness, sitting in silence, and finally feeling what lay beneath her affirmations. And there it was, plain at last, fear. Fear she might be a fraud. Fear of being ridiculed. Fear that change would never come. Fear that believing would only set her up for another heartbreak. She wept tears not of despair, but of cleansing clarity. She realized she had been layering words over fear rather than turning to face and address it directly. The following day, she faced the mirror again, not for rote affirmations, but for bold, honest declaration. "Fear, I see you. I do not hate you, but you do not lead anymore. I speak wealth even while you tremble, and my faith shall grow louder than your voice." From that moment, her frequency shifted. The inner gear engaged. 3 days later, the first unexpected blessing appeared. Understand, fear wields power only when it remains hidden. Once exposed to light, it loses its dominion. And we need not wage war against fear. We need only override it with higher truth. Not by sheer force, but through steady repetition that retunes the field. Not by denial or suppression, but by speaking truth repeatedly and calmly. The truth is that fear cannot cancel a decree spoken in faith. It can only delay it if you allow fear to abide within your vibration. So what practical steps can you take when fear surfaces? Step 1, identify the fear without flinching. Do not deny it. Name it clearly. Step 2, address it out loud. Speak directly to the fear with authority. Step 3, override it with a higher, truer word until the signal clears. Here is how that practice might sound in real time. Fear, I see you trying to make me shrink, but I choose expansion. Fear, I feel you, but I speak wealth anyway. Fear, you are not my voice. I override you with divine truth. Practicing in this manner elevates you from fear servant to a master craftsman of speech and frequency. Let us now clear away the energetic sludge that clings and weighs down. Take a deep, centering breath and declare with unwavering strength, "Fear, I no longer serve you. You are not my ruler. You are not my voice. I override fear with faith. I override fear with wealth. I override fear with love. I override fear with truth." And so it is. Before funds appear, before healing manifests, before doors fly open and blessings pour forth, one sacred precursor must be aligned. Identity, the core name you answer to, must be set first. Not the tasks you perform or roles you play, not merely the desires you hold, rather, who you are in essence, your I am. Because spiritual law does not deliver on the basis of hustle or strain. It delivers in accordance with your state of being. Florence Scovel Shinn affirmed, "The invisible forces are ever working for the man who is always pulling the right strings." And what exactly are those strings we are meant to pull? They are your I am statements, identity declarations that set reality's tone. I am is the rootstock of manifestation, the origin command line of the soul, the signature frequency your life resonates with, and nothing gains entry to your outer world unless your inner identity authorizes it first. So begin at the foundation. Who truly do you say you are? Not merely on strong days, but in the quiet hours when bills pile up and delays stretch beyond expectation. What name do you actually respond to in those moments? What identity are you wearing? If even unconsciously you declare, "I am a struggler," you magnetize struggle to your path. If you say, "I'm trying to be wealthy," you affirm that wealthy is not yet your identity. But when you speak, "I am a wealthy being," you switch on the law of identity and authorize matching outcomes. Let us return to a sacred moment, the encounter of Moses with the burning bush. Moses, trembling, asked, "Who shall I say sent me?" And the voice answered, "Tell them I am hath sent me unto you." Not a mere title or role, but a vibration, the essence name itself. I am the primal identifier. That, beloved, is the divine signature that also echoes within you. Therefore, when you declare, "I am wealthy," you are not simply reporting status. You are aligning your identity with Source's vibration. Yet here lies a subtle trap worth exposing. Many people mouth the words, "I am wealthy," while secretly harboring the belief, "I am not enough," dividing their vibration and canceling their decree. They declare, "I am powerful," yet they secretly carry the burdening belief, "I am undeserving," deep within themselves, hidden but active. Consequently, their outer life stays conflicted, immobilized, and mired in contradiction and lack of flow. The issue is not erroneous phrasing, it is that core identity has not transformed, so the declarations cannot fully land. Allow me to illustrate with a clarifying metaphor to make this precise. Picture your identity as the operating system of a spiritual computer. Affirmations function like apps. Desires are downloads. If the OS itself proclaims, "I am unworthy," then regardless of how many potent declarations you install, they fail to execute. They crash loop endlessly or freeze and stall. You do not require additional apps or more lines of affirmations stacked on top. What you truly need is an upgrade to the core system, an overhaul at the identity level. And the beginning of that upgrade process starts with the mirror face to face with yourself. Let me guide you step by step through a simple yet potent process. Approach your mirror, stand upright with dignity, and meet your own gaze directly and steadily. Resist the impulse to flinch or adjust your appearance. Simply hold the gaze and look with full attention. And then speak aloud the following statement with intention: "I am a wealthy being now." Not "I hope to be." No tentative phrasing or softening qualifiers. Not "I want to be." No language of distance or deferral. Not "I'm trying to become." Not the vocabulary of effort without identity. Instead, use the causative identity claim, "I am." Repeat the declaration, then observe carefully what surfaces within. Notice any sensations, thoughts, or immediate inner reactions. Do you feel tightening resistance or even a mocking laugh from within? Note those signals with honesty. That reaction is the old identity objecting. It is in the process of dying. Permit its dissolution without interference. Then speak the declaration once more with steadiness. I am a wealthy being now. This is not a theatrical performance. It is a sacred initiation into a new identity. Each repetition removes another veil, thinning the barrier between you and truth. A veil woven of accumulated shame and self-doubt, of old programming installed by culture and conditioning, of inherited scarcity patterns passed down through generations, of religious guilt that misframed abundance as impurity, of memories of failure that once defined your expectations. Beneath those layers stands your true self, radiant, divine, and irresistibly magnetic to good. Let me share a brief example about a woman named Renata to make this living. For years, she studied manifestation. She memorized affirmations and understood the principles, yet somehow nothing held, nothing truly integrated. One day, a mentor advised, forget the money and the goals for now. Do a single thing, look into the mirror and say, I am a wealthy woman, every day for 30 consecutive days. Initially, she scoffed, dismissing it as overly simple and unlikely to matter. Yet an inner nudge urged her forward. She decided to try regardless of skepticism. Throughout week 1, she cringed. Her voice cracked with discomfort. Belief had not yet caught up to the words. In week 2, a shift emerged. She began dressing more intentionally, speaking with new confidence. Even her posture stood taller. By day 20, an invitation arrived to co-lead a high-level retreat evidence meeting identity. By day 30, she had signed 3 new clients, doubled her income, and wept in gratitude not merely for outcomes, but because she finally believed her true identity. Understand, beloved, the mirror does not lie. It faithfully reflects the belief you project upon it. A genuinely new life begins only when you respond to a new name and upgraded identity. Therefore, speak these identifications right now with authority. I am a wealthy being now. I am the embodiment of divine prosperity. I am not waiting for money. I am the very vibration that magnetizes it to me. I am not merely becoming, rather, I am already what I claim. Say it into your mirror eye to anchor it. Say it while you walk, integrating it into motion and breath. Say it before sleep so your subconscious can cradle it overnight. Your words create conditions. However, your I am statements are causative. They set root-level reality. The instant identity aligns with desire, spiritual law must bring correspondence. That is both its promise and its built-in design. Let us declare in unison the following identity-shaping lines. I am the wealth I seek. I am the abundance I desire. I am the magnet, the channel, and the living proof of provision. And every I am I utter inevitably becomes the world I inhabit. And so it is sealed and established. And so it is. You open an envelope. A bill looks back like a silent accuser bearing the words, you owe. Yet today, you do not shrink or mutter, I can't. Today, you rise in your divine stature and respond with authority. I speak to this bill, not from it. For this paper is not a problem. It is a stage upon which you stand as the star of a divine drama. You are not money's servant. You are the commander of supply. This is not a burden. It is your next exercise in dominion. Remember this perspective. Each bill testifies to life experienced. A light bill proves your home was lit. Rent shows you were sheltered. Grocery receipts show you were fed. These are gifts, quiet miracles already received. Now you carry this further beyond gratitude into decree. Physically lift the bill. Yes, actually do this. Hold it like a sacred scroll from heaven. Look upon it and pronounce you are now paid in full by divine supply. Not by my striving, but by the invisible law of opulence. The substance of God pays you. The wealth of spirit moves through me now. I owe no man but to love. This bill is dissolved in the wealth of heaven. Repeat this decree repeatedly until every cell in your body hums with agreement. This bill is paid in full by divine supply. Add your public witness. This bill is paid in full by divine supply. Speak it aloud, type it out. Let the universe register the firmness of your decree. Now let me share an illustration about Mariah to ground this in lived experience. 4 bills, water, phone, internet, and rent sat stacked on her counter, tightening her chest at a glance. She used to hide or ignore them. One day, after hearing this teaching, she stood tall in the kitchen, lifted each bill like a sacred document, and proclaimed aloud, "I do not speak from this bill, I speak to it. I command divine substance to fulfill this. Money angels, I release you. Go forth, arrange the funds, open the channels, bring this into balance." Within that week, a long-delayed freelance payment arrived. A friend unexpectedly repaid a forgotten loan, and her landlord uncharacteristically granted 2 weeks of rent relief as a random act of grace. None of this was random chance. It was dominion in motion, spiritual law, fulfilling a decree. The stack of bills effectively bowed before the power of her spoken word and alignment. Therefore, when a new bill arrives, do not say, "Oh no." Say, "Ah, my next miracle." When debt shows up, do not quake. Smile and declare, "You are already dissolved in divine surplus." Debt is not your dictator. It is an illusion subject to dissolution. It exists only on the surface while you live and speak from the inexhaustible source. Now practice with me. Assume a strong posture, stand tall with shoulders back, and speak these affirmations as if your word is a wand directing energy. I am not afraid of any amount. I command all of it with joy. Every dollar I owe is already answered by divine substance. I do not beg. I decree. I do not hustle. I speak, and money obeys. All bills are paid, all debts dissolved by the hand of the Most High in me. I send money angels. Now go, go, go. Fulfill these assignments. Do you sense that shift? That sensation is you standing in your authentic seat of power. You are not submerged beneath debt. You are walking upon the waters of provision and law. Let spiritual bells ring over your finances. Let divine accountants balance your ledger. Let the unseen treasury of the infinite flow into every corner of your affairs. Here is a decree to write out, frame, and position wherever your bills reside. All my accounts are settled in the courts of heaven. I operate under divine economy. Every debt is a lie dissolved by truth. I owe no man, I overflow. Repeat it until your body posture transforms, spine lengthening, chest opening, and voice ringing with clear authority. You have ceased pleading for money to rescue you. You now command supply as a royal child of the universe. You possess a throne, not a panic button, a scepter in hand, not a spreadsheet of sorrow. Speak the following with powerful conviction and clarity. I now speak to all bills and debts. You are fulfilled. You are dissolved. You are answered by the wealth of God, and I go free. Now pause and breathe. Let silence cradle your decree like a precious jewel, allowing it to set. If your mind begins to argue or panic, answer, "Peace, be still. The law is working." Affirm, "The how is not mine to control. My part is to speak. God handles the how." Are you familiar with the account of Elijah and the widow, the tale of provision? With only a handful of flour and a little oil, she expected death. Yet she obeyed divine instruction she gave and declared, and the oil did not cease, the jar did not run dry. This is your own Elijah moment. Speak your way into overflow and watch provision respond. Take the next bill in hand and declare, "Thank you for reminding me of my abundance. Thank you for giving me the stage to decree wealth. I bless you. I release you. I am free." And as you proceed, repeat this anytime you handle money, coins, or cards. You are my servant, not my master. For you are the speaker of truth, the divine accountant whose mouth opens and releases gold in the form of declared supply. Now, let us stamp and seal this word into the fabric of your daily life. Speak the following loudly and with full-bodied conviction. This bill is paid in full by divine supply. Yes, repeat it once more for emphasis and anchoring. This bill is paid in full by divine supply. Let the ethers resonate. Let angels take note. Let your residual doubt bow before this decree. This bill is paid in full by divine supply. Welcome then to the Soul's Workshop, the place where inner building truly begins. Here, worlds are constructed not with hammer or nails, but with word spoken, believed, and repeatedly affirmed. Each affirmation is no mere wish. It is a brick, a sacred building block set into the invisible architecture of your life. You are not merely uttering pleasant phrases. You are erecting the mansion of your future room by room. Each affirmation is an instance of sacred architecture, intentional structure and language. Every I am serves as a cornerstone that bears structural weight. Every lovingly repeated phrase becomes a beam, a roofline, a distinct room within your temple of reality. Therefore, we begin not through strain, but through rhythm, not with force, but with the aligned tone that carries power. Begin by repeating this foundational declaration with me. I am the architect of my reality. My words are my blueprints. My voice is my tool. Yes, again, for depth and resonance. I am the architect of my reality. My words are my blueprints. My voice is my tool. Now let us proceed to lay the foundation stones with care and intent. Understand that these affirmations are more than words. They function as vibrational equations that yield outcomes. They operate the way music, poetry, and practical magic do through resonance and pattern. Let us start with a simple mantra chain, the kind Florence Scovel Shinn might have whispered into the surrounding air of her own soul. Divine substance is the only reality. I dwell in divine substance. I walk in divine abundance. I speak as divine supply. Can you feel the shift in atmosphere and in your body? Brick by deliberate brick, the structure rises. Word by intentional word, the architecture takes shape. Reality begins to take form all around you in response. When you speak in this register, even angels pause to listen and align. Your future subtly reshapes itself to mirror your decree and identity. Note this, some claim affirmations fail. That occurs when tone is off, when the mouth says what the heart cannot carry. That is not true architecture. It is fantasy without foundation. You, however, are building with integrity and coherence between word and belief, with resonance that rings true through body and soul, with a kind of divine mathematics inputs aligning to lawful outputs. Every I am, you utter, the universe rushes to complete. Therefore, choose what follows. I am with care and with boldness. Try speaking these identity-anchored lines aloud. I am wealth in form. I am money in motion. I am divine substance clothed in skin. Inhale deeply and notice your cells respond and your spine subtly align to the truth. Let us move deeper still and build the next level upward. This next segment is call and response. Say it with me aloud, truly aloud, so even your walls can hear you. I say I am not lacking. You say I am overflowing. I say I do not chase. You say I magnetize. I say I do not beg. You say I decree. Once more repeat the exchange to deepen its groove. I am not lacking. I am overflowing. I do not chase. I magnetize. I do not beg. I decree. Allow these lines to sink in and bind with your breath. This practice is not entertainment, but active creation at the level of being. This is not mere positive thinking. It is spiritual construction through lawful speech. Now, place your hand upon your chest. Feel your voice echo through your body. You are aligning biology with theology, your nervous system with your upgraded narrative. Now speak the following slowly and deliberately. Every word I speak forms a structure. I build my wealth with wisdom. I lay my success in syllables. I speak, and it is done. This is how Florence lived. She did not merely try affirmations, she spoke them as law, and the universe organized itself in obedience. Let me offer an example, Malik, to show this in practice. Malik juggled 3 jobs and felt exhausted. He began speaking wealth, but it felt untrue. He said, I am rich, while internally panic rattled him. Then one day, he aligned rhythm with belief. The cadence fit the truth he could hold. He stopped declaring what felt hollow and began laying small brick statements that genuinely resonated. He spoke lines like these to build steadily. I am divinely guided today. Money is a friend to me. I am worthy of more rest. And then something shifted, subtle at first, but unmistakable. Better jobs began to find him. The old ones fell away one by one. New contracts flowed in. He was no longer forcing affirmations, he was inhabiting their truth. This is what it means to practice the architecture of reality through speech. Now ask yourself honestly, which bricks, specific words will you lay today? Choose them with careful joy. Here is a set you can use to build your day with structure. I build my life with light. I speak gold into my future. My income obeys my energy. My words are credit in the bank of the universe. I invest only in truth. My belief is my bond. My voice signs the checks. Let each affirmation settle fully. Do not hurry. These are weight-bearing phrases that carry structural load. Take a deep breath. We will move into a musical cadence now, affirmations delivered beat by beat. Repeat each of the following lines after me audibly and steadily. Money comes when I speak. Opportunity moves at my command. I live by decree, not by delay. All wealth flows when I align. I speak it, I see it, I celebrate it. I am the living word of wealth. Now select one single affirmation from today's list, just one to carry forward. Choose the one that stirred your heart and rang most true within your chest. Perhaps it was one of the following lines. My words are credit in the bank of the universe. Or maybe this alternative resonated more deeply. I do not chase. I magnetize. Make your choice now and claim it. Now commit fully to that single affirmation as your practice. This becomes your 30-day decree, your focused anchor. Speak it morning and night without fail. Write it down, speak it aloud, and keep anchoring it through repetition. Whenever doubt intrudes, repeat it as if it were a rope you grasp to return to truth. Because that is exactly what it is, a lifeline to your true identity. This single affirmation is not minor. It is the keystone holding your temple of reality in place. Select one affirmation from today's list and commit to it for 30 days. Speak it daily, record it publicly below, and let it serve as your foundation stone. Your word functions as a wand, an instrument of directed creation. Your voice is a vault-secure storage and release point for value. And your reality is under construction at this very moment, brick by spoken brick. Welcome to the throne room, the inner chamber of authority. It is not a room of gold or velvet carpets, but the sacred space of your own soul where remembrance returns. Each morning, you rise not as a servant to chaos, but as a lawgiver, a divine legislator of your day. This is your daily throne time, the set-apart interval of sovereign speech, the time when the world pauses and you speak first, setting the tone, the time in which your voice drafts the day's schedule for the unseen to follow, the moment when the universe leans close and whispers, "Speak, beloved." What shall it be today? We commence in stillness, quiet as a temple before dawn. We commence from authority, aware of our rightful power. We commence as royalty, enthroned within our own consciousness. Place a hand upon your heart, close your eyes, and declare the following. I now take my seat on the throne of my consciousness. I rule with wisdom. I command with love. I decree with faith. Each day ought to begin in precisely this manner, anchored in decree. Not with your phone, not with the clamor of external noise, but with Spirit's whisper. You are the scribe of today. What shall you write into being? Accordingly, you write your day in advance, shaping it before it arrives. You declare wealth prior to any transaction occurring. You anoint the coming hours before emails or demands appear. You pronounce declarations such as these: this day is blessed, this hour is holy, this moment is enough. Wealth follows me now. Allow me to paint a brief picture to ground the practice. It is 6 a.m. The sky remains dark. You light a candle, open your journal, and place both feet flat and grounded on the floor. You whisper softly, yet decisively. I do not wait for life, I create it now. You begin with gratitude, not for future events, but for what already exists in the unseen realm. Thank you for the money I do not yet see, but already feel. Thank you for the solutions already unfolding. Thank you for the miracles on the way. Then you take up your pen and write not as a mere dreamer, but as a divine commander issuing orders. You do not write, I hope you avoid tentative language. You do not write, maybe someday you refuse deferral. You write as one sovereign and sure. Today I receive divine favor in every deal. Today I magnetize money with my joy. Today I walk in wealth. And then, crucially, you speak those lines aloud, since the tongue transmits and activates the decree. Write it first, then speak it to seal and send it. Morning throne time exists to decree before any delay has a chance to form. You are not playing catch-up with life. You are calling forth what is already yours. Now envision evening. The day has unfolded, some parts flowed, others snagged, but you do not retire carrying confusion's energy. No, you choose a different close to the day. You return intentionally to your throne space once more. You light the candle again, center your breath and posture, and reflect with calm authority on what to decree next. Not for self-judgment or harsh critique, not for scolding yourself or assigning blame, rather to gently recalibrate your alignment and return to center. You pose careful questions to yourself, such as, which core truth slipped from my awareness today, even for a moment? In what moments did I issue clear commands, and where did I fall into complaint instead? Where did I magnetize outcomes to me, and where did I regress into anxious chasing? You don't berate yourself. You simply remember and then you put it in writing as a conscious reset. I forgive the fear I spoke. I recall my power. I remember the throne is still mine. Your evening throne time exists to recenter your spirit and restore authority. It is not about punishment, it's about personal power reclaimed. You close the day the way you opened it, standing in divine authority. You rest your head not in doubt, but upon firm decree. Speak this now as the anchor that secures your night. I rest in riches. I sleep in safety. I rise in royalty. Now let me share a testimony to illustrate this practice in action. Keisha, a single mother of 3, worked double shifts and said she had no time, always rushing. She began with a simple 5-minute practice each morning: a candle, a notebook, and a single line I call divine order into my day. She spoke that line daily without fail. Gradually, she added a morning prayer, a midday decree, and an evening release ritual. Within a month, she let go of one shift, not by quitting in desperation, but because provision arrived. A friend offered childcare. An unexpected check landed, her energy elevated, and her outer life reflected the shift. For when you return to your throne of authority, life stops pressing you down and begins to respond to you. Your purpose is not mere survival through time. It is to sanctify time with intention and decree. Your hours are not merely linear. They are sacred real estate. Throne time is when you purchase your day by issuing lawful decrees. Now seal this with an audible declaration. I claim my daily throne time. Yes, feel that commitment land. Repeat it with even more feeling to anchor it deeper. I claim my daily throne time. This is the daily ritual of the wealth walker who moves by law and intention. This is the daily temple practice of the decree maker who shapes reality by word. Whether at 5:00 a.m., 9:00 p.m., or midday, the exact hour matters less than ownership. Make it truly yours. Establish the practice, guard its borders, and honor it consistently. Here is a straightforward throne time flow you can adopt and adapt. Morning practice. Light kindle a candle, burn gentle incense, or play quiet music to mark sacred space. Anchor, place a hand on your heart and speak a concise decree to set the tone. Journal, write 3 I am statements that define your day's identity and direction. Speak, say each statement aloud, slowly, letting the body feel the words. Evening practice. Light, turn on a single soft light or candle to signal reflection time. Reflect, ask, where did I rule today? Where did I give away my power? Journal record. 1 truth realized, 1 lesson learned, and 1 gratitude named. Decree, close with I rest as royalty. If a day is missed, do not indulge in shame. Simply return. The throne remains ready for you. The throne is constant. It is we who wander away and must return. Choose to return today. Reclaim your seat now. To anchor this choice, speak aloud the following lines. I sit on the throne of my life. I decree with clarity. I do not react, I reign. My morning speaks my wealth. My evening seals my power. I rule my life by divine law. Now type this as a public commitment. I claim my daily throne time. Also share your chosen time, morning, night, or midday, so the community can help anchor your practice. Your inner throne stands prepared and waiting. Your spoken word is holy, set apart with creative power. Your day is a living temple you consecrate with speech. Take your seat now, speak wealth with authority, and reign over your day. Testimonies are more than narrative anecdotes. They function as spiritual confirmations, concrete evidence that the law of wealth responds to bold spoken decrees. They arrive like thunder, that inevitably follows the lightning flash of belief enacted in speech. They constitute the tangible evidence, quiet or loud, that the word, when spoken in alignment, truly operates and produces outcomes. Therefore, today, you are invited to consider real accounts of divine provision at work, some arriving immediately, others unfolding progressively, yet each unmistakably bearing the mark of the miraculous. And note, each case begins in precisely the same manner, not with funds or frantic effort, but with a deliberate, authoritative, spoken decree. To start, let us consider Elijah's account as an illustrative example. Elijah had fallen 2 months behind on rent. Notices kept arriving. Panic and shame pressed on him. One night, seated on the floor with a bill in hand and tears flowing, he recalled this teaching. Speak to the need, not from it. Consequently, he spoke aloud, addressing the situation directly. I do not owe rent, I command divine housing supply. Rent be paid, by miracle, by flow, I call it in. He repeated the decree multiple times, not with strained force, but with calm, steady faith that carries authority. Within that same week, his landlord unexpectedly forgave a full month's rent in exchange for minor building tasks. Soon thereafter, a refund from a prior employer arrived covering the remainder in full. This outcome was not a random accident or coincidence. It constituted provision lawful supply responding to spoken word. Because Elijah chose to speak with authority rather than shrink into fear, the situation realigned around his decree. Next, consider Serena's experience as a complementary testimony. Serena was navigating a difficult custody case. Finances were tight and legal fees steep. Uncertain how to proceed, she instituted a morning throne time practice, anchored by this decree, I walk in legal favor. I walk in divine justice. Money obeys the divine court. She repeated it every morning and evening during commutes and even on lunch breaks, embedding it into her daily rhythm. She neither received an immediate raise nor stumbled into a lottery windfall. Instead, unexpected assistance arrived. An old friend linked her to a nonprofit legal support group. Her attorney extended a substantial discount spontaneously, and a distant cousin sent funds after a striking dream prompted generosity. This was provision emerging from unanticipated avenues she could not have orchestrated herself. Such outcomes illustrate how the law operates not primarily through linear logic, but through vibrational alignment that coordinates means. I invite your reflection. Have you experienced a breakthrough of this kind? An instance when, against the odds, funds appeared, support materialized, and a way opened? If not yet, that is entirely acceptable. Your timing is unfolding, because you are in truth next in line for demonstration as you align and decree. Every testimony you hear becomes a deposit into your belief bank, compounding trust and expectancy. Consider this letter we received from Jorge as further corroboration. I was working night shifts, barely sleeping, always in fear. I started listening to daily decrees and saying them on my drive home. One day, I said, I command open doors and restful provision. The next day, I got an unexpected call, an old friend offering a position that paid more for fewer hours. It was like a door swung open I didn't even knock on. This is not a fanciful tale. It is an operation of spiritual law responding to spoken alignment. Can you sense the resonance of this truth in your own awareness? Let us pause briefly to integrate and breathe. Now let us issue a shared declaration to anchor belief. If it happened for them, it happens for me. My testimony is in progress. I am the next miracle story. Repeat the decree once more to deepen its impression. I am the next miracle story. Understand now that provision does not always arrive in the form of currency alone. Sometimes it manifests as timely relief or release from pressure. At times, it appears as favor preferential treatment that opens doors. It may even appear as a protective delay, a significant discount, or a strategic connection that unlocks new channels of opportunity. All of these constitute valid currencies of spirit forms of supply equal in value to money. Consider Nadia's account as another illustration of this principle. She required $5,000 for a surgery with no insurance and no savings available. She cried out with a decree, "I walk in divine health and financial grace. I am not forsaken." She repeated this statement morning and night faithfully. Then unexpectedly, a local clinic where she had never been a registered patient contacted her to offer a fully covered position in a community healthcare grant. She had not applied at all. She simply spoke aligned and allowed provision to locate her. The principle is this: you do not chase provision anxiously. You address provision with your word, issuing a lawful call. You summon it by decree, calling it into your experience. You then become the prepared vessel, the identity into which supply naturally and lawfully flows. Here is a decree you may adopt immediately. I don't have to know how, I only have to speak now. One more testimony to reinforce the pattern. His name was Damon, and his story demonstrates strategic alignment. He dreamed of launching a coaching practice, but lacked capital and connections. He began to declare, "Divine strategy is my sponsor. The right people seek me. The money finds me." He shared his concept online before it felt ready. The same day, a client messaged to book. That initial client led to 5 additional engagements in short order. He now works full-time in his business and summarized it this way: "I don't chase clients. I speak to them before they arrive." Provision is responsive to voice your aligned speech, not to frantic stress or mere effort alone. Specifically, it responds to your voice-issuing decree. Join me now in declaring the following lines. The same law that worked for them works for me. Provision is my promise. My decree writes my testimony. My supply is not coming, it is here. Take a deep breath and let these declarations settle firmly within your awareness. You are encircled by testimonies, some witnessed, some heard, and some you are on the verge of becoming yourself. Now I invite your active participation with reflective questions. What is the testimony currently forming in your life? What are you intentionally calling in through decree? What are you speaking over your life even when current account balances suggest otherwise? Speak it aloud now to establish jurisdiction. And add these lines to seal the intention. This is part of my testimony. These tears will water my harvest. This delay is becoming delivery. This problem is turning into proof. Now breathe again, slowly and fully to integrate. Attend closely to this culminating truth. I do not worship the testimony, I worship the lawgiver. And the lawgiver has placed the word in my mouth. You are no longer merely hoping. You are issuing lawful decrees. You are not pleading. You are aligning your identity and speech with law. Your story has not concluded. A new chapter is commencing right now. Speak this once more with full authority. I am the next testimony. Provision is here. I receive it now. Have you personally experienced a breakthrough attributable to speaking abundance with faith? Share your testimony publicly to fortify your own belief and others. And if you are still waiting, share your testimony in progress to anchor it in community. For by speaking, you accelerate its unfolding. Articulation speeds manifestation. And by sharing, we strengthen one another's faith and expectancy collectively. You are not alone in this work. You stand among many witnesses. You belong among the wealth walkers and decree makers, the testimony-bearing community. Your proof is en route, already moving toward you by law. Pause again for a moment of silent integration. Listen inwardly for the quiet guidance of spirit. Notice the steady rhythm of your breath, the embodied metronome of presence. This is not the soundtrack of hustle, nor the noisy clatter of striving, nor the abrasive grind of effort. This is the sound of holy flow, easeful, coherent, and divinely paced. And with it arrives your invitation to a different way of being. Step out of the paradigm of striving, chasing, and constant calculation, and step into the steady stream of divine ease, orchestration, and supply. You were not born for endless hustle. You were born to command with lawful speech and presence. First, let me address your nervous system, the part that holds tension and old programming. This is the part conditioned to believe money is earned only through pain, that success demands sacrifice, and that burnout somehow proves worthiness for breakthrough. Breathe deeply now and consciously release that embedded falsehood. You are not here to earn love or legitimacy by exhausting yourself. You are not here to barter peace in exchange for provision. You are here to allow wealth to flow through and as you by the operation of law. Allow me to guide you into a clarifying metaphor for this shift. Picture the following scene with clarity. A man stands mid-river, holding a bucket, frantically scooping water to fill barrels on the bank. He sweats, panics, and splashes, struggling despite being immersed in supply. What he fails to notice is that standing still, aligning with the current, would bring the water to him without frantic effort. The river's current is already flowing continuously. Supply is already in motion, moving inevitably toward receptive channels. The struggle arises from scooping resistance rather than from the stream itself. In this metaphor, hustle corresponds to the small bucket. Holy flow corresponds to the river's current. Now pause and ask yourself reflective questions. In which areas am I still scooping anxiously? Where am I still striving instead of aligning? Where have I confused frantic motion with genuine power and efficacy? Now breathe again, slow, steady, and grounding. Step out of the shallow, panic-ridden shallows of the river. Step into the deeper waters of trust where the current carries you. Declare the following aloud to anchor the shift. I step out of the hustle. I release the grind. I enter the stream of divine flow. Once more, repeat to deepen embodiment. I step out of the hustle. I release the grind. I enter the stream of divine flow. Consider Terrence's story as a living case study in this shift. Terrence worked as a marketing executive with a strong salary, but severe stress, burning out roughly every quarter. He began rising at 4 well-road a.m. to get ahead, yet found his life contracting rather than expanding. Then one morning, an inner voice spoke clearly within, "Stop digging. Let the gold come to you." He did not immediately resign or enact dramatic changes that day. Instead, he made small, consistent shifts. He instituted a sacred daily pause each afternoon, a short walk, a few intentional breaths, and a concise decree. I do not hustle. I magnetize. I am in holy flow. He declined projects misaligned with his resonance and began listening attentively for divine instruction rather than chasing market noise. Within 3 months, his hours decreased even as his earnings increased, evidence of alignment at work. Why did such a shift occur with so little visible strain? Because he exited the frenzy of hustle and entered the frequency of holy flow alignment that attracts. Holy flow, in essence, is an attunement of frequency you can inhabit. In that space, you cease chasing money altogether. Instead, you align your identity and actions with wealth's frequency. You tune your inner receiver to it, like selecting a station. Seal it now with a voiced affirmation: I am tuned to the frequency of divine flow. Again, to embed the signal, I am tuned to the frequency of divine flow. Now visualize two alternate modes of living. Two contrasting versions stand before you. The hustle version, an overfilled calendar, drained energy, relentless pressure, and a persistent sensation of running behind. The holy flow version, aligned actions guided by divine timing, generous breathing space, trust in the unseen, and overflow arriving even before requests are made. Which of these lives do you now consciously claim as your own? Recognize that hustle may appear noble, yet often masks underlying fear and scarcity. Fear whispering that if you stop pushing, you will be forgotten or left behind. Fear insisting that unless you do more, everything will be lost. Fear demanding constant proof of your worth through exhaustion. In holy flow, however, you recognize and know deeply, I am sustained by the source, not the schedule. You operate in divine timing rather than conforming to public or external timelines. Let us affirm this new cadence with these declarations. I trust the flow of divine wealth. I am in right place at right time, doing right work. My rest is rewarded. My ease is magnetic. I let money come to me in peace. Now observe the qualitative shift that follows alignment, transitioning from chasing clients to attracting relationships that are aligned and mutually beneficial. Moving from forced, brittle strategies to fresh, divine inspiration guiding action. Shifting from budgets birthed in burnout to an economy characterized by overflow and sufficiency. This way of operating is not laziness, it is alignment that optimizes effort. This is not passivity or apathy. It is genuine power expressed through present, poised awareness. This path is not an invitation to inactivity. It is an invitation to act, but to act from inner knowing, decisions and steps arising from alignment rather than anxiety. Allow me to illustrate with Anjali's experience as a concrete example of this shift. She owned an online store with decent sales, yet she perpetually tinkered with details, overanalyzed every metric, and edged into burnout from constant strain. Then she made a conscious shift in approach and energy. She began by declaring with intention, I call in aligned buyers. I trust the energy of my offering. She no longer forced launch cycles. She created from a posture of love rather than scarcity, and laced her product pages with clear, confident decrees. The result was unmistakable. Her sales doubled, reflecting the energetic change. She summarized it this way: I am doing less, but everything flows more. That is the signature of holy flow in practice, the paradox of less labor, yet greater movement. Fewer frantic motions, yet more true momentum carrying you forward. Take a steady breath to settle into this awareness. Let us step into a brief meditation designed to anchor the experience of flow. Picture your life as a broad river and yourself floating upon it, not aimlessly drifting, but being securely held, gently guided, and deliberately directed. Sense your body soften as you yield to the river's supportive current. Now, in a quiet whisper, affirm the following statements. I float in divine timing. I move in divine rhythm. Money flows like water. Clients come like waves. Provision flows before I need it. It is safe for you to set striving down. Safety is present even when effort softens. You can stop chasing outcomes and still be secure. Your good is not running away. This is possible because spiritual law is already operating on your behalf, arranging outcomes. Your essence is not a hustler's identity defined by grind. Your true nature is magnetic, drawing what aligns to your field. You function as a divine instrument through which flow moves and multiplies. Join me in speaking these alignment decrees aloud. I am moving from hustle to holy flow. I receive more by doing less when aligned. I walk in the ease of overflow. Take another breath and allow yourself to receive this frequency fully. Permit the river of alignment to carry you through today's tasks and choices. Let ease itself become the evidence that things are working in your favor. Allow peace to be counted as profit, a valuable yield in its own right. Let joy be the primary job description guiding how you show up and create. Share this message with someone trapped in constant hustle, someone who needs to hear, you are not required to suffer in order to succeed. Success can arise without self-punishment. Greatness does not demand perpetual grinding. Greatness grows from alignment. Invite them to feel and experience this flow for themselves. Draw nearer in attention and presence for this final movement. We are entering the closing movement of this journey. Consider this moment a coronation and anointing of your true identity. This is the moment your identity is sealed, not as someone who merely wants, chases, or hopes for wealth, but as a person whose very being is wealth itself, wealth embodied. For wealth in truth is not simply a possession you store. It is not merely an account balance rising and falling, nor is it restricted to transactions and trades. Wealth is an innate nature, a living vibration, an abiding truth of identity. Today you wear that nature like a second skin, familiar and inseparable. You speak it fluently as though it were your first and native language. You live it as naturally as breathing your very first breath. Now rise, stand to embody this truth physically if you are able. Draw in one long grounding inhale to anchor presence. Rest both hands upon your chest to connect voice and heart. Feel the steady pulse beneath your palms. That rhythm and beat you notice, it is the sound of abundance already residing within you, pulsing life through your being. Now, allow your voice to carry that inner abundance outward. This moment holds your culminating decree, your closing statement of identity. Put away mere wishing. It is no longer your posture. Set aside wavering. Steadiness replaces it now. Move exclusively in word, aligned with law and anchored in truth. Repeat the following, slowly giving each word weight and breath. Let every line take on substance, become in lived reality in you. Wealth is who I am. I no longer seek, I speak. I no longer strive, I stand. I no longer hustle, I harmonize. I no longer beg, I bless. I no longer wait, I walk in it now. Once again, repeat to deepen the imprint. Wealth is who I am. Allow this truth to saturate your bones and marrow. Let it soak into your cells like light infusing every fiber. Permit it to rewrite every internal file and script stored in your subconscious. Now declare this full body affirmation sequence, engaging breath and posture. From the crown of my head to the soles of my feet, I radiate divine wealth. My voice is gold. My energy is currency. My decisions are prosperous. My thoughts are investments. My being is blessed. My future is funded. My path is paid in full. I am the living word of abundance. And now we descend even deeper into the core of identity. Let us proclaim your identity, your complete spiritual resume and standing. I am a child of the infinite. I am heir to the treasury of heaven. I am a walking temple of overflow. I am the law in action. I am money's divine home. I am the promise in flesh. I am the word that never returns void. Pause now to let resonance gather. Sit in a brief and spacious silence. Let the vibrations of your words continue rippling through the invisible field. This is not about volume or force. It is about deeper ownership and inner assent. You are not attempting to persuade the universe to agree. You speak to unveil and embody the truth that is already seated within you. And now comes one final decree to seal it all. Speak the following with sacred boldness and certainty. Wealth is who I am. I decree it now. Again, infuse it with fire and conviction. Wealth is who I am. I decree it now. One final time, voice it with full power. Wealth is who I am. I decree it now. There is nothing remaining to chase or grasp. Pursuit is complete. You yourself are the decree embodied and enacted. You are the wealth identity and supply united. You are the spoken word established as law in your life. Therefore, step forward from this moment carrying yourself as royalty. Walk as one whose words shape worlds into form. Walk as one who never again doubts the sovereign power of their own voice. You are not slowly becoming rich as a distant goal. You are remembering and reclaiming who you already have been all along. Type this line as your public seal. Wealth is who I am. I decree it now. Allow the universe to answer back to your decree in its lawful ways. Let wealth rise visibly to meet your identification. Let the word you have spoken become your lived embodiment and daily expression.